Well, good morning. Happy Tuesday, everybody. And hopefully all of you all can hear me loud and clear as we start off another virtual BOC board meeting here in Rockdale County. Today is Tuesday, February the 9th, 2021, and it's shortly after the 10 a.m. hour. We are calling our meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Commissioner Williams is on board. The Chief of Staff is in place, and I do see the county attorney, and Commissioner Washington is en route virtually. So we're going to go ahead and call our meeting to order. Chief Cabe, and we'll start with the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance from none other than Apostle Charlotte Hill of Loves and Hugs Christian Tabernacle. And there is Commissioner Washington.
I'm here. I didn't hear what you said. I heard, but I am dealing with technical difficulties at the house with this internet. So please bear with me.
All right, we're moving forward with the prayer and Pledge of Allegiance. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning, Pastor.
Let us bow our heads. Father God, we come seeking your face this day. Father God, we ask you to put a rainbow of your love over each and every one of us. Father God, bless this city, bless the United States of America, and Lord, bless the leaders that covers us in this county. Father God, we thank you right now for all that you've already done and for what you're about to do. But Father God, we'll never, ever turn our love another way than toward you. And Father God, we thank you right now for the commissioner and all the leaders here in Rockdale County, that they'll be prompt and joyful with everything that they do. In the precious name of Jesus, we give you all the praise and all of the glory as we said the Pledge of Allegiance of this flag, Father, your nation flag, your world flag. Father God, whatever we need to do, place it in our heart to be able for us to stand together. In your son, Jesus Christ's name, we promise to give you all the praise and all of the glory. In your son, Jesus' name, we pray, saying amen and amen.
And Mr. Chairman, we will now play the Pledge of Allegiance on a video.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to Apostle Charlotte Hill from the Loves and Hugs Tabernacle. Apostle, we certainly appreciate you leading us with the word of prayer and invocation this morning and your presence being here with us. You are welcome to stay online throughout the entire virtual meeting if time allows for your schedule to do that. Again, thank you, and thank you for what you and your congregation does behind the scenes here in Rockdale County. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think this time, Chief Cabe, we'll go back to public relations for a special presentation celebrating Black History Month here in Rockdale County.
Mr. Chairman and Madam Commissioners, thank you all so much for giving us this opportunity. And also, we want to thank the community for allowing us and trusting us to tell their stories. As we all know, February is an important month across this nation. And for us here in Rockdale County, Black History Month is an opportunity for us to recognize not only the advances that we have seen across this nation, but also the impact that it has made here at home. So today we will be debuting our first Black History Month video. We will be debuting one each Tuesday, going all the way up to Juneteenth. So we will extend this celebration beyond Black History Month. We encourage everyone to please watch these videos, to share these videos, and we want to hear your stories too. So if there's a story that we have missed that we're not aware of, let us know, because we want to incorporate that too. And each week we will be highlighting different segments. We will be inviting the community at the end at Juneteenth to celebrate in the debut of our video, talking about what Juneteenth means not only across the nation, but more importantly here in Rockdale. So without further ado, we will play this video for you now.
Thank you. Hi, Rockdale. It's Chairman Oz Nesbitt. And as you know, February is Black History Month. To raise awareness within this series, we will be airing one video each week on Rockdale 23 that centers on Black history, more specifically, Black history in Rockdale County, and ended it with a video on Juneteenth. What is Juneteenth and how will we be celebrating Juneteenth here in Rockdale County? There are countless valuable stories right here in our own backyard.
I want to see one of these tonight.
Unlimited accounts of Black accomplishments and contributions to our county, our country, and the world. From community leaders to veterans to business owners to pioneers for integration and civil rights to modern movers and shakers that are setting records and raising the bar. We are excited to showcase the talent, dedication, and perseverance of Rockdale citizens who have and are making a difference in their community. I'm Chairman Oz Nesbitt, wishing you a happy Black History Month.
Chairman, back to you, sir.
All right, thank you, Director Diaz, and thank you to the Public Relations Department for putting this segment together, Commissioner Washington, Commissioner Williams, highlighting Black history, but making the focus on Black history in Rockdale County. I really do appreciate, and we look forward to seeing more of those videos as we move throughout the month. And you should know, Commissioner Washington, we are going to be highlighting Juneteenth and educating those about Juneteenth and how it originated and what it's all about. So I think this is a wonderful opportunity to inform and educate our public, not only about the contributions of Black citizens here, African-American citizens here in Rockdale County, but also gives us an opportunity to highlight Juneteenth, as you have so well pointed out. Moving forward, Chief Cabe, I think it's time to go to item number 4, the approval of the agenda. Commissioners, what is your pleasure?
I move to approve the agenda as published.
I had to find my unmute button.
Good
I
morning.
second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
So I would like to propose an amendment to the minutes. And in the board comments in the minutes, it mentions that I reflected on 2020. I would also like the minutes to reflect that I expressed concern for 2 positions specifically not filled by the Board of Commissioners in the budget for 2021, which have now been filled.
All right, so we would let the minutes reflect. Commissioner Washington?
I second the motion as amended.
I didn't move to,
Well,
I just said I
moved-
wanted to do that amendment, so
Okay, I move to approve the minutes with said amendments.
I second that motion.
All right, it's been properly motioned and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, please.
Chairman, there is no unfinished business, so we'll move right into the regular agenda.
Thank you, Chief Cade. We'll move to item number 7 on the regular agenda, item number 2021-50.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Item 2021-50, thank you, Mr. Chairman, is through the Georgia Department of Transportation. This is through our Transportation Department. Also, this is the acceptance of the Local Maintenance and Improvement Grant for calendar year 2021 in the amount of $917,000, or excuse me, $917,908.64. This is presented for ratification.
I move to approve this grant as presented.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions?
I don't have any questions, but the public might want to know that there is a 30% match for that grant, which comes out of SPLOST funds. And there is a list already of priorities on how to use that funding.
You're absolutely correct, Commissioner. I think this is a double positive for Rockdale County because we're getting to having the opportunity to use the LMIG funds as well as local SPLOST dollars to take care of these projects and take care of these road improvements. So you're absolutely correct. What is your pleasure on this one?
I move to ratify this grant. Oh, I already said that. Did I already make that motion?
We have a motion and also a second.
And a second.
Okay.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any additional questions or comments or concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item 2021-51 is through Georgia Power. This is to rescind contract 2018-84. This contract was approved on June 26, 2018 through our Transportation Department and by the Board of Commissioners for utility relocation for the Sigmund Road widening project from Lester Road to Irwin Bridge Road in the amount of $746,748. I can confirm that there was no action taken on this contract at the time.
I move to rescind the contract as presented.
I second that motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions, concerns, or comments on this one? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item 2021-52 is through Georgia Power. This is through our Transportation Department. This is for utility relocation for the Sigmund Road widening Phase 2 project. This is through GDOT PI 0013163 in the amount of $724,277. This is for 1 year, and this basically replaces the contract that we just rescinded.
And it replaces the contract, this is so unusual, at $22,471 less than the previous contract. I don't know whatever happens that
was
you wait 2 years and it drops in price, but
that was Jamie K doing his magic. We appreciate you, Mr.
oh,
K.
okay. So I move to approve the contract as presented.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second, and keep doing your magic, Chief Kate. Are there any questions or concerns? All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, next item on the agenda is 2021-53. This is through Brookmore Properties, through our Finance Department. This is in reference to the NSP Program Coordinator. This is change order number 1 to 2020-58. This is to add additional scope of work, and this is grant funded.
I move to approve this contract as presented.
I second that motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item 2021-54 is through Dissy's Solutions Incorporated. This is through our Technology Services Department. This is for Cisco Emergency Responder Deployment Software and licenses for E911 in the amount of $16,104.11.
I move to approve this contract as presented.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 2021-55 is through the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. This is for Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. This is through our Technology Services Department for cyber hygiene. This is presented for ratification this morning.
Was there a cost to that contract?
No, ma'am, there was no cost.
Okay, that's what I thought.
All
I
right,
move to ratify this contract as presented.
I second the motion.
been properly motioned and second. Are there any additional questions or concerns on this one? All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 2021-56 is through Standard Office Systems for our Technology Services Department. This is change order number 6 to contract 2018-77. This is to add a copier to the administration building on the second floor of the county complex in the amount of $225 a month for 31 months and also $80 a month for 31 months in terms of maintenance.
I move to approve this contract.
A second.
Been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions or concerns on this one? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 2021-57 is through Lichty Commercial Construction Incorporated. This is through our General Services Department for the Johnson Park Gymnasium. This is change order number 3 to 2019-112. This is to extend the term by 120 days to April 30th, 2021.
I move to approve this contract as presented.
I second the motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 2021-58 is through JCA Concessions LLC. This is through our General Services Department. This is for concession services at Johnson Park and American Legion. This is for revenue. County receives 25% of the gross proceeds. This is for 1 year with option to renew 2 additional 12-month periods.
So this was interesting to me because do we have any concession stands going right at the moment?
Director Sanders, are you able to speak to the JCA concessions contract?
Yes, good morning.
Good
So we're preparing for when we open back up.
Okay.
It had to be bid back out, and we wanted to make sure we were ready for when the time came. So that's what this is.
Okay.
Okay.
So yes, I
When will- when
just
will-
thought 25% of 0 is 0.
But
right,
legally,
so-
when will the year start? When we start back up, or does it start now?
It starts now, so that when we are ready to, have concessions, we can do so. So if we decided in a month we had an event, we were ready.
Okay,
And it's
thank
got
you.
2 options to renew.
So I move to approve the contract as presented.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Some good forward thinking here. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner Williams. Next item, please.
Item 2021-59 is through ADP LLC. This is through our Talent Management Department for Workforce Now. This is change order number 1 to contract 2013-32. This is to add API partner integration at no cost, one time with a 30-day support. This is presented for ratification.
I move to ratify this contract as presented.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions or concerns on this item? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 2021-60 is for Bennett Fire Products Incorporated. This is through our Fire Rescue Department. This is personal protective equipment. This is change order number 4 to 2017-170. This is a unit price increase and contract extension through March 31st of 2021.
I move to approve the contract as presented.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Mr. Chairman, item 2021-61 is for North America Fire Equipment Company Incorporated. This is for Fire Rescue Department. This is personal protective equipment. This is change order number 2 to contract 2017-169. This is a unit price increase and also contract extension through March 31st, 2021.
I move to approve this contract as presented.
I second the motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 2021-62 is Suez WTS Analytical Instruments Incorporated. This is through our Water Resources Department. This is for a certified P+ system protection and service for M5310C Lab TOC analyzer. This is for $7,215 a month beginning August 25th, 2021 and extending through August 24th of 2022.
I move to approve the contract as presented.
I second that motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Commissioners, I'm sure you may have noticed the news report about a local city who had their water system hacked by a hacker, and folks were attempting to poison the water system for that particular municipality. All of these types of protection devices and indicators that alert our operators at the water plant is for the best interests of all of us in Rockdale County. And I was glad to hear that the operator at that particular site was alert and aware and was able to be active and prevent this from happening. But these things are very serious. And when I hear this type of item, I know that this is just taking care of our employees, because the last thing we want is for someone to contaminate our water system. So great job on this, and great job to all of our operators. I want to just take a moment to all of those folks out at our water plant who work around the clock, 24 hours a day, every holiday, every day of the year. They're at work protecting the water supply here in Rockdale County. So just wanted to point that out, because I think sometimes people take for granted water is such a major asset in terms of reaching the entire community. All right, so did we wrap that one up, Chief, or do we?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're at the next item if you're ready.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead. Item 63.
Okay. Item 2021-63 and 64 and 65 are all grant funded through our state and superior accountability courts. I'll start with 2021-63. This is for Walter Nunnally. This is through the state and superior court accountability courts. It's peer support specialist. It's change order number 2 to contract 2019-81 to increase the pay to $15 per hour. This is presented for ratification.
Okay. Go ahead.
I move to ratify this contract as presented.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions on this one?
I don't have a question, but I just want to comment on Walter and Paula Boyd, who's in the next one. And I haven't met Tori yet, but I'm sure that she will do just as wonderful a job as Walter and Paula do. They are just a vital part of the accountability courts and the recovery movement in Rockdale.
Commissioners, there's a motion and a second on the table.
Yes, sir. It's been properly motioned and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Yes, sir. Item 2021-64 is for Paula Boyd. This is through state and superior court accountability courts. This is for peer support specialist, change order number 1 to contract 2019-167. This is to increase the pay for $15 per hour. This is presented for ratification.
I move to ratify this contract as presented.
I second that motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions or concerns or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 65.
Yes, sir. Item 2021-65 is for Tori Ashima Bryant. This is State and Superior Court Accountability Courts. This is peer support specialist, $15 per hour through September 30th, 2021, with the option to renew 2 additional 12-month periods. This is presented for ratification.
I move to ratify this contract as presented.
I second the motion.
It has been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next item, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item 2021-66 is for the abandonment and decommission of a right-of-way through our Planning and Development Department. This is a request to abandon and decommission a portion or the whole of the existing Dogwood Industrial Circle right-of-way to determine whether or not to move forward with this project.
So this has already been before the Planning Commission and before the public hearing was held with the zoning. Could you remind us what the planning department's what the recommendation was? Trying to pull that
Yes,
word.
ma'am. Director Johnson, if you would speak to that from Planning and Development.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, I'm having some difficulty here. Yes, this is actually this is an item that was approved by both the Planning Commission, and we presented it to the BOC at the first reading for this particular item. What this item is for is just to the initial parts of actually agreeing for the decommissioning and the abandonment. Also, there will be some follow-up needed between both parties in terms of some of the private individuals that will utilize this roadway once it's abandoned. But right now, the first thing for the county is to agree for the decommissioning and the abandoning. So yeah, this is the second time that this has come forward to the body.
And Commissioner Williams, if I could also add, essentially, and Director Johnson, correct me if I'm wrong, but this if the board so chooses to move forward in this action, once this is done, then this would be presented to our our county attorney, and the land would be put up for auction, and anyone would have the ability to purchase this land during a public sale. Confirm
that is correct. Right, that is correct. So, and the actual owner of the property is aware of that. He's completed similar types of projects in other municipalities and local governments throughout the region. So he is aware that the next step is to, if it's a public auction, and he'll have to bid on it. But the main thing for us is just to go through the decommissioning and the abandonment process, so it can be out of our hands, and then it will be a private matter.
So I move to approve the request to move forward with this project.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any additional questions or concerns on this item? All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thanks to the Planning and Development Department. Thank you, Commissioner Williams and Commissioner Washington. This particular roadway here has been a code enforcement nightmare. I think you all have had an opportunity to go back there. It has been like this for a number of years, a dumping ground in the community, code enforcement, law enforcement. It's really been a public health and a public safety nightmare. So I am so glad to see someone is interested in acquiring this property and looking forward with a new development. And I'm also glad to hear Director Johnson speak of the fact that there's going to be even more follow-up. The new owner, the new potential owner, will be communicating and in concert with the existing businesses that are already in that area. That is so important. But I think this was a huge step in the right direction to acquire this property simply because it had become a major eyesore and a dangerous zone in terms of COVID, in terms of code enforcement here in Rockdale County. Just wanted to point that out. Chief Cave, item number 67.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item 2021-67 is a text amendment request for 2021-05. This is an ordinance to amend the text of section 206-8 of the Unified Development Ordinance of Rockdale County as amended regarding the RM Residential Multifamily District to repeal conflicting laws and for other purposes. This is the first reading.
I move to approve the first reading and refer this ordinance to the Planning Commission as presented.
I second that motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions or concerns on this item? All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Next item.
Item 2021-68 is a future land use case 2021-01, an ordinance to amend the future land use map of Rockdale County's comprehensive plan as amended so as to redesignate property located at 2021 Old Covington Highway Southeast and 0 Salem Industrial Parkway Southeast from the limited industrial future land use category to the high density residential future land use category to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is the second reading.
I move to approve the second read and to adopt the ordinance as presented.
I second that motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 2021-69 is a rezoning case 2021-01, an ordinance to amend the official zoning district map of Rockdale County as amended by rezoning property located at 2021 Old Covington Highway Southeast and 0 Salem Industrial Parkway Southeast from M1 Limited Industrial Zoning District to the RM Residential Multifamily Zoning District to impose conditions upon the property to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is the second reading.
Commissioner, what's your pleasure?
I move to approve the second reading and adopt the ordinance as presented.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 7.
So before we move on, this is the property behind BJ's, correct?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so I got an email right as our meeting was starting saying that the property developer and the BJ's representative have reached a private agreement over the wall and the berm and whatever. And so I just wanted to say that we appreciate your working that out because it really was not a zoning issue. It really was a private ownership decision. And so I appreciate the work. I know that they had to put a lot of work into that to get that agreement, and I appreciate it.
I also wanted to comment, we had a lot of discussion on aesthetics and standards regarding this this property and this project. And I do want everybody to know, because I had so many calls and so many texts about the 1-car garage versus the 2-car garage and making sure the streets were a certain width, because other people who lived in developments that did have 1-car garages and smaller streets, they had problems with emergency personnel. So I want to let everybody know that that is a standard, that we have insisted on the 2-car garages in this project, and we have we're making sure that the streets are a certain width so that the emergency personnel will have no problems in getting through the development. So and I want to thank the developers for being so conscious and so willing to work with us and adhering to the standards that we're setting forth in Rockdale County regarding townhome communities.
Well, Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Washington, hats off to the both of you all for pressing and inquiring. And this was a very engaging project. Hats off to Director Johnson and his entire staff over in planning and development. And kudos to the developers, BJs, and the landowner, because the essence of what came out of this was clear communication, people working together, all of those concerns, as Commissioner Washington so eloquently stated, listening to the heart and mind of the citizens here in Rockdale County, but being able to remove government and for the two developers and the landowner to get together, work it out. And I was excited this morning when I received the text message from Chief Cade stating that all is well and that they had reached a common ground. So this is progress in the right direction. And I think this is going to be, Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Washington, a good example for how things are to be done in Rockdale County when we're all engaged in terms of moving the county progressively forward. So thanks to, again, to both of the commissioners, to planning and development, and certainly to the developers. And let me just say one other thing to the landowner and the developers. We in Rockdale County embrace economic development, and we appreciate you selecting and considering Rockdale County as a place to do business. Commissioner Washington?
Well, I was just going to say that one of the things that clearly came out of this this whole process is that Rockdale County citizens are opening their mind to the fact that townhomes and townhome communities are the wave of the future. However, they want standards. They want standards of development. They want for you to bring the best that we can afford in this community. And so that being said, I think that this opens the door for us to sit down and roll up our sleeves and put together some viable standards for all townhome communities or developments that come into this entity, letting developers know that they're not going to bring us just anything, that they're going to have to adhere to the quality that we're going to be insisting on for their developments.
Absolutely. Chief Cade, where are we with this?
Okay, this has already been handled, so I'm ready for the next item if that's your pleasure.
That is my pleasure. Let's go to the next item, please.
Yes, sir. Item 2021-70 is a rezoning case, 2021-02, an ordinance to amend the official zoning district map of Rockdale County as amended by rezoning property located at 2420 Old Covington Highway Southwest and 2432 Old Covington Highway Southwest from R1 Single Family Residential Zoning District to M1 Limited Industrial Zoning District to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is the second reading.
So I move to approve the second reading and to adopt the ordinance as
I
presented.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any comments, concerns, or questions on this item? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 2021-71 is a text amendment request, 2021-01, an ordinance to amend the text of section 234-7, reconstruction of the Unified Development Ordinance of Rockdale County as amended regarding single-family residential non-conforming uses to repeal conflicting laws and for other purposes. This is the second reading.
I move to approve the second reading and to adopt this ordinance as presented.
I second the motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Item number 72, please.
Item 2021-72 is a text amendment request, 2021-02, an ordinance to amend the text of section 238-7, Board of Adjustment, subsection D1 of the Unified Development Ordinance of Rockdale County as amended regarding regular meetings of the Board of Adjustment to repeal conflicting laws and for other purposes. This is the second reading.
I move to approve the second read and to adopt the ordinance as presented.
I second that motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns on this item? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Another step in the right direction. That's forward thinking to consolidate those meetings and reduce the burden and the tax load on the Department of Planning and Development, Public Relations, and all other departments that support these additional after-hour meetings. So this is very good, and it also brings about a continuity of communication from one office and department to the other. So this is very good. Next, item number 73, Chief K.
Yes, sir. Item 2021-73 is a text amendment request, 2021-03, an ordinance to amend the text of section 106-1 definitions, section 206-1 WP Watershed Protection District, section 218-1 permitted use table, section 218-13 standards of use and development of the Unified Development Ordinance of Rockdale County as amended regarding apiaries and beekeepers and for other purposes. This is the second reading.
I move to approve the second reading and to adopt this ordinance as presented.
Second that motion. And this is another example of a lot of citizen input, everywhere from the state beekeepers to our local beekeepers wanting to make sure that that this was going to benefit the apiary business, so to speak. There were concerns, I think, that because they didn't understand initially what the ordinance was, but I appreciate them reaching out so we could clarify exactly what it was, and that really we were enhancing opportunities for beekeeping, because it's one of those environmental issues that we know bees are extremely important in our agricultural business, particularly. So I'm happy to see this finally come up for a vote today.
I echo what you just said, Commissioner Williams. You're absolutely right. Very briefly, I want to say again, hats off to Director Johnson and Planning and Development, but in particular, Mr. Tanner Barr, who did a lot of work on this particular project. He championed this project from Planning and Development. So he is, as you all know, Tanner is one of our most recent hires and members to the Planning and Development Department. And I'm telling you, he has hit the ground running right along with Director Johnson and the rest of the crew over there, who is relatively brand new and doing a great job. As you notice, most of the items that we're dealing with this morning are Planning and Development items in particular. So again, Tanner Barr, Director Johnson, keep up the great job. Where are we on this one, Chief?
Yes, sir. There is a motion and also a second.
All in favor? It's been properly motioned and second. All in favor of this one, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Mr. Chairman, item 2021-74 is a text amendment request, 2021-04, an ordinance to amend the text of section 206-1, WP Watershed Protection District of the Unified Development Ordinance of Rockdale County as amended regarding organic farming to repeal conflicting laws and for other purposes. This is the second reading.
I move to approve the second read and to adopt this ordinance as presented.
I second that motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Any comments, questions, or concerns on this one?
Well, I just, again, this is another one that is really going to benefit Rockdale County in terms of education, environmental education, about where food comes from for children to learn all kinds of things. It's just, you know, having taught about all this kind of stuff for quite a number of years, I taught. It really is satisfying to me to be able to be right at the bottom line of providing the ordinances necessary for the beekeeping and the organic farming to take place.
Commissioner Williams, is it safe to say that you're super excited?
Super excited.
Commissioner,
Not only that, is one of the things about being briefed on this particular ordinance, it allows us to keep Rockdale. We have a beautiful opportunity to do something that is unique in Rockdale, because from what I understand, we in the metro Atlanta area, this is one of the larger establishments of this kind. So I'm really excited that this is another form of economic development, not necessarily what most people envision as economic development, but certainly something that keeps Rockdale County, it enhances the quaintness of the county. So I'm excited about this also.
very good, very good. So where we,
We do have a motion and also a second, Mr. Chairman.
all right, it's been properly motioned and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Great job, commissioners. This was a very good one here, moving us in the right direction. Next item, Chief Kate.
Item 2021-75 is for volunteer appointments for the Conyers Rockdale Library System. This is presented for ratification to reappoint Joe O'Neill for another 3-year appointment, and also Miss Sue Trough for another 3-year appointment, both ending on December of 2023.
Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
I move to ratify these appointments as presented. I think we've lost Commissioner Washington for a moment.
I second that motion. It's been properly motioned and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And there's the commissioner. She's back. All right. Very good.
And this internet today is okay.
All right. Item number 76.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item number 2021-76 is alcoholic beverage licenses.
Commissioner,
I move to approve these requests for alcoholic beverage licenses as presented.
I second the motion.
been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns, Commissioner Washington?
Absolutely not.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Item number 77.
Item 2021-77 is a requisition through our Water Resources Department. This is for NatraChem Incorporated. It's easement clearing for sewer lines and force mains in the amount of $80,000.
I move to approve this requisition as presented.
I second that motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 2021-78 is a requisition through our Technology Services Department. This is for Cambridge Computer Services Incorporated. It's antivirus software renewal in the amount of $16,000.
I move to approve this requisition as presented.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions or comments or concerns on this item? All in favor, say aye.
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 Bless you. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 2021-79 is a requisition through our Technology Services Department through Dissy's Solutions Incorporated. This is renewal of Cisco's SmartNet services in the amount of $51,030.61.
I move to approve this requisition as presented.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns on this item? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Commissioners, if you've not had an opportunity to have a conversation with Director Moore Jackson or her deputy director, let me tell you, we've had a series of technology services directors over the years, but I'm telling you, I've not had seen a technology services director who is so excited about the work that she does. Her deputy director, they are truly like Batman and Robin type team. They are excited. If you spend them 1 minute with them, you're going to spend about 12 minutes with them because they are super excited about the work they're doing, and they are doing a lot of work in a small amount of time. Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Washington, if you haven't had the pleasure, I want to encourage you to do that, or either stop by Technology Service and see some of the great things they have going on. Commissioner Washington.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a technology services for dummies, like a pamphlet when I go over there so that I can get all the lingo and know what she's talking about. Please, ma'am.
And I already am in the process of setting up an appointment. I think Chief Cabe is working on that for me to meet with her about some issues and really just to meet her too.
Yeah, well, you might want to just at least have your pack of peanuts in your pocket because Director Moore Jackson and her deputy director and the whole team over there, it's a whole new culture, a whole new mindset, and we're certainly excited about it. They're doing some tremendous work. And I must add and point out the focus and the emphasis they're putting on cybersecurity and making sure that we're safe and that we're doing everything we can to be proactive instead of reactive in the area of cybersecurity. So big kudos to Director Moore Jackson and her deputy director, Gerald May, for doing a fantastic job. Pack a lunch when you go by and spend some time with them. They got a lot of exciting stuff going on, Commissioner Washington, Commissioner Williams, and we want them to continue to keep up the good work. Next item, did we wrap this one up, Chief?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're ready for the next item if that's your pleasure.
All right. Thank you so much. Item number 80.
2021-80 is a requisition through our Transportation Department for Cinctus. This is 2021 yearly uniform rental in the amount of $16,060.16.
Move to approve this requisition as presented.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions?
I did have a question.
Yes.
What kind of uniforms are we talking about?
Director Moretto, would you like to speak to this, please?
Yes, sir. This is the uniforms for our staff. We have both shirts and pants. Okay, wait a second. Can you hear me still?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Yes. I'm also happy to say that this year we're actually required to get some some lady uniforms. So we've definitely diversified RDOT, and that includes some uniforms for two of the ladies that we have there, both in community improvement teams. So yes, that's what this is for.
So I'm guessing that when they're out working, when crews are out working, it more easily identifies that they are associated with the county.
Yes, ma'am, it sure does.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, this one has been properly motioned and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, next item, please.
Item 2021-81 is an expenditure request through the Board of Elections. This is through American Security Cabinets for ballot boxes in the amount of $17,724. This is presented for ratification.
Is that mine? I move to, go ahead.
I move to ratify this expenditure request as presented.
I second that motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Any questions, comments, concerns on this item?
Well, I was just glad this is a necessary expense. I was glad of the forward thinking of our elections department when we did add the additional ballot boxes during the election. Nobody saw this coming, and I've commented before how expensive elections are, and people don't realize that we have to. It's an investment from the county. But thank you to the elections department for the forward thinking, and this is a cost that I'm glad to pay.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Item 82, please.
Item 2021-82 is an expenditure request through our Technology Services Department through DISES. This is network switches for the Board of Elections in the amount of $22,327.19.
I move to approve this expenditure request as presented.
I second the motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Any questions, comments, or concerns on this item? All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Item number 83, please.
Item 2021-83 is an expenditure request through the Clerk of Courts. This is through Tyler Technologies Incorporated. This is the annual maintenance and support for the SAS Odyssey renewal in the amount of $51,500.
I move to approve this expenditure request as presented.
I second that motion.
Been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns on this item? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 2021-84 is a resolution to allow for the increase of county supplement for the tax commissioner annually.
I move to approve this resolution as presented.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns on this item?
Well, I just had a comment. I think it's unfortunate that it took 2 years to get this on the agenda. After my conversation with Commissioner Smart Washington, she first had brought it up in 2019 and was promised it in 2020, and it didn't happen. So I am glad that this small increase is retroactive for 2020.
And you know, being her armor bearer, I just wanted to explain that this is a result of compression. A lot of her deputy director, once we did the salary adjustment, his salary is almost equal to hers. And so this is just us trying to make that right. And she does a tremendous job and definitely deserving.
All right, I think
There's a motion and a second, Mr. Chairman.
okay, it's been properly motioned and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. All right, Chief K, we are down to board comment. Wow. Okay. I'm going to start with Commissioner Washington. Commissioner Washington?
So because I'm having such technical difficulties, I cannot do my great presentation for Black History Month that I was going to do. So you all just have to wait on that till the next time we meet. But know that I had something in mind. But that being said, you know, Carter G. Woodson, when he had the notion of Black history, it started out as a week. And he wanted, because historically, so many of us don't appreciate all of the contributions that we have made in this world. He wanted those contributions to be recognized. So it started out as a week, and now it is Black History Month. And it's something that I'm very proud to recognize, especially from the position that we're in, to be able to broadcast Black history. So the next time we meet, I'm going to have my Black History contribution together. That being said, in this month of Black History, we have lost two icons, which were Cicely Tyson, and my favorite Supreme was actually Mary Wilson. I know everybody loves Diana Ross, but my favorite Supreme was Mary Wilson, and we did lose her, I think, yesterday. So my hearts and prayers go out to that family. We also had the bittersweet pleasure, I'm going to say it was a pleasure, of dedicating the Newton County Courthouse to who I will consider one of my Black History icons, of Horace Johnson, on last Friday. And kudos to his family, kudos to Chairman Marcella Baines and the entire Newton County Judiciary for that dedication. Justice Melton was the keynote, and he did an outstanding job on commemorating the life and legacy of Judge Horace Johnson on last Friday. So that was, I guess that was a great contribution to Black history and a very appropriate time. Moving into economic development, we are moving fastly forward with Critic in selecting the president of the Conyers-Rockdale Economic Development Council. We have decided to change the name from executive director to president. And so that is something that we're moving forward to. Also, the Development Authority, we had our meeting last week, and we are moving expeditiously on a couple of new projects. And I think that everybody's going to be excited about some of these projects that we're moving forward with on the Critic side and the economic development side. So like I told you at the beginning of the year, put your seatbelts on, we are moving forward. Also, we've had a lot of, I've had a lot of emails and questions about economic development in North Rockdale County. So what I'd like to do is set up a task force, and I think Chief Cabe and I will flesh out the details of that task force. And the next time we meet, we will give specific instructions on how you can volunteer for the North Rockdale County Economic Development Task Force and things that are moving forward. That's all I have, Chairman.
All right. Very good. Very good. And now we'll go to Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Williams, take it away.
Okay, so for Black History, I wanted to spotlight Ijoma Oluo, who wrote this book, and I don't know if it shows it backwards on your screen or if you see the text right, but it's called, she wrote a book called So You Want to Talk About Race. And I read this book last month, and I highly recommend it. She is she is a New York Times bestseller, and it's a conversation that probably needs to happen with all the social justice, criminal justice, Black Lives Matter issues that have come up, really focused in the last year. She walks through conversations that a person can have. It's especially good for those of us who are not part of that African American culture, who don't understand and may not have the depth of understanding of how that history impacts people still today. She also talks about how this similar items with Hispanic populations, with Native Americans populations, that they also have histories that we may not be aware of. So I am suggesting that you read this book, and if anybody wants to have a conversation about it, I'd love to have a conversation about it. I found it to be very enlightening, very easy to read, and like I said, it's a New York Times bestseller. So she is my Black history focus today.
All right.
Very good. Are you
Um,
starting a book club?
No,
I'm just asking.
but if anybody wants to talk about it, just let me know. We'll talk about it. I picked up the book because my brother wanted to read it because his granddaughter suggested it to him. I think we have a new generation of youth coming up that are much more aware and much more tuned in to the different nuances and impacts of history in our lives today. So you're welcome to reach out to me about that. So moving to that, I wanted to talk for a minute about our Stepping Up initiative, which is really the intersection of law enforcement, criminal justice, mental health, and substance use issues. And it all comes together. While economic development she's off to a running start, we are off to a running start this year. It's been amazing. We had our first steering committee meeting at the end of last month. 50 people were in attendance at that meeting. 50 people from Piedmont, Rockdale to the city police, to the sheriff's department or sheriff's office, to nonprofits in town, just mental health providers, peers who have been through the system. I just couldn't get over 50 people at that steering committee meeting. And what was really good was that people were very engaged in what we were doing. We had two speakers from Fulton County who are working with their Stepping Up initiative who spoke to us and shared what they have done and some of the data that they've collected and how they collected it. And it was really good. Then if you recall, in the fall, we had our sequential intercept mapping workshop with the Carl Vinson Institute at the University of Georgia. And part of that final report itemized 5 priorities that we wanted to work on in Rockdale County. We had at the workshop time, people signed up for which priority they would like to be part of the action team. So in the last few weeks, we've asked for people to chair and co-chair those action teams. And I just want to reach out and comment on 2 of those team directors, Director Dan Morgan, who is heading up our data collection team. And again, that data collection team includes our medical provider at the jail, NAFCare, it includes Piedmont Rockdale, it includes Viewpoint Health, it includes our 911 representatives, and will be key in being able to mark the progress that we are making and the changes that are happening. The other team that I wanted to call out is Chief Deputy Scott Freeman of the City Police Department and Captain Tijuana Harris of she's part of the jail command staff for the sheriff's office. They are co-chairing the team on improving mobile crisis response. And that also is going to be key in working with our navigator team as we are beginning that process of hiring and training those people to work with law enforcement in an effective way that provides wraparound services for the people that we're talking about. So I am very excited about how that's going and where we're moving. We'll have reports from each of our committees, action teams at our next meeting, the end of this month. We will be meeting monthly this year, and we've established those dates for the first 6 months. It's with a new outreach coordinator that we brought on board. She is just doing remarkable things. We have peers who are still in the part of the judicial system. One who's creating our website for us and getting that up and going. And they're playing, the peers have, I think we forget, sometimes we talk about inmates, but we're really talking about people with skills and with life experiences. And I think we can never let go of that perspective, that we are talking about individuals who have talents that they can share and gifts. For some reason, mental health issues or substance issues have stopped those or interfered with those at a certain point. But there is a lot to be said for what's happening with our recovery community and supporting them and providing them with opportunities to use their skills. So let me just end with this. In Apostle Hill's prayer this morning, she used the word, in talking about the county and the commissioners, she used the word joyful. And I think that we want to always remember that word, that in spite of difficulties, in spite of differences, in spite of, the pandemic and all of the complications of that, I think joyful is a word to remember.
Well, it's hard to follow that, Commissioner Williams. You're absolutely right. You start using a big word like joyful. That's hard to follow, and we certainly do appreciate Apostle Hill and for leading us in prayer and invocation, because you're right, it sets the tone for our meeting, and I'm just so honored that we are in a county and a country that will allow us to open up a public political meeting with prayer and invocation. I want to move right ahead to a couple of things here in my comments. I'm going to start off with my Black history person, Commissioner Washington, Commissioner Williams. Y'all know I'm a huge fan of James Brown, who's originally from my hometown, Augusta, Georgia. But at this moment, I want to salute his notorious cake man, Mr. Danny Ray, the MC and the cake man for the Godfather Soul. James Brown finally was laid to rest himself just a few days ago. Danny Ray was the longtime MC who introduced the Godfather of Soul for well over 50 years. He was the man that was placing the cape on James Brown, and he actually did a ceremonial placing of that cape at Mr. Brown's funeral there in Augusta at the Augusta County Civic Center by placing it as they closed the casket. So Danny Ray, the longtime MC and cape man for the Godfather of Soul, James Brown, is my Black history person that I'm highlighting. I also want to say again, thank you to Director Diaz and his team in the Public Relations Department, because the focus has not just been on national and international icons for Black History Month, but for local folks here in Conyers and Rockdale County, who's made countless numbers of contributions over the years right here in our own backyard. So I really do appreciate there being a local focus on Black history in Rockdale County, because we are continuing to see so many talented people right here in our own county do tremendous and phenomenal things all across the county. So hats off to all of those people who continue to make their mark in this community, and particularly to all of our African-American contributors. I want to shift now because Commissioner Washington is really doing some great work in the area of economic development. We've been shining the spotlight on economic development for quite some time. We put together an economic development task force that's led by our chairman and Will Barkley, who is our chief tax assessor. And I'm going to ask Director Barkley if you would just come in just for a moment, because Commissioner Washington made mention to some things relative to the north side of Rockdale County that Director Barkley already has on his radar. And I think this is an opportunity, Commissioner, for us to work with what we already have instead of reinventing the wheels. Director Barkley, talk to us briefly about what you're doing, you and the task force, as it relates to economic development here in the county and the north side of the county, as the commissioner pointed out.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Madam Commissioners. Hope you can hear me very well. Haven't quite got the video situated right now, having some technical difficulties. But we are actually, we do have an economic development task force that's actually looking over the entire county. As you guys are aware, we just recently finished partnering with the University of Georgia and the Carl Vinson Institute, which produced a document that we have called Advancing Rockdale. And within this document is going to illustrate all of the different areas that we really need to focus on as far as moving economic development forward in Rockdale County. We do need to focus more so on the north side as well as on the south side. So we need to just focus and look at the entire county and the city of Conyers as we look to to figure out how do we move forward as far as with that. I know having lived on the south side and also currently living sort of on the north side, I do understand the impact and the need for economic development on every aspect of the county, at least. So I would be certainly happy to partner with you and work with your team as far as incorporating those needs as far as within the current economic development task force that we currently have in order to seek the needs of those taxpayers that are on the north side of Rockdale. Chairman, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. And since I have the mic, I'm going to be a little bit like you. I also want to share some of the things that we have going on in the office. So everybody's aware, we're currently coming around the point where we are going to send out assessment notices. These normally go out the latter part of April. Just be on the lookout for those notices. I partner with the Public Relations Department. We're getting ready to send out some information as far as about the dates for those. I've had a meeting with Director Diaz, and we're very close to getting some information out. We want to make the taxpayers aware that we will be sending out these notices, letting them know what the property values are going to be for 2021. However, I just want to shed some light that the values have not decreased in any way due to COVID. What we found is that we have a very limited supply of homes that are available for sale currently. This is throughout the Metro Atlanta area. So the values are still holding very steady, which is a good thing. So just want to make people aware of that. And a couple other tools that we're providing. Due to COVID, we created a module on our website so individuals can apply for homestead exemption online. So that is up and running, and we're seeing a lot of people utilizing that particular tool. And seeing that we're still not open to the public right now. So once these notices go out, you do have an opportunity to be able to file your appeal online. So you don't have to do anything. You can actually do everything from home. You don't have to come into the office to fill out your homestead or file an appeal. So everything can be done remotely on that same particular website. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak this morning.
Director Barkley, anytime you want to grab the mic and give us some good news, an update like that, we certainly will toss you the microphone. I think there's an opportunity with what you were sharing about the Economic Development Task Force and the initiatives that Commissioner Washington has already in mind and some of the ideas. So I do want to encourage you to set aside some time, get with the commissioner, and let's kind of stir the pot. I mean, economic development is one of the hottest topics in our community. And as a board, we all share the same mindset. The commissioner is certainly leading in that area. and there's some concerns about what's happening and what's not happening on the north side. But I think the document from UGA and the work that the Economic Development Task Force has already set a standard will couple with some of her ideas. So I do encourage you to do that. It was so good to hear the updates about your website and how citizens can engage without coming in person to the tax assessor's office as well. So we look forward to even more update as it relates to what's happening in your office and how folks can apply for their homestead exemption and in other documents to get work done without having to come out during this COVID pandemic in person. Commissioner Washington, did you have a couple of comments on some of what Director Barkley has shared with us?
Well, my comment on what Director Barkley has shared is, of course, I'd be glad to work with the what's yours, council, the Economic Development Council. There's so many different words for all the things that we're doing.
The Economic Development Task Force. Yes.
And helping with some of my initiatives. It seems like things are going so fast that wow. But of course, I need all the help I can get. But that aside, I'm going to steal the mic back because I forgot to congratulate Judge Nancy Bills and Judge Clarence Culprit on their appointments. Nancy Bills will be our new Superior Court judge, and Judge Culprit will be our state court judge. And I am so proud of those appointments. And everybody keeps asking me what's going to happen with probate court right now. It's my understanding that Attorney Gary Washington will be, he is the associate judge now. He will be moving up and taking the realms of the helm as our probate judge until we can have a special election. So, but congratulations to our two new appointments.
All right. I'm gonna wipe this microphone down and make sure it's COVID free, and I'll take it back. So thank you so much. I'm gonna move now to first of all, I think I need to do this before it slips my mind, commissioners. I gotta give a big shout out to stormwater, water, emergency management, PR, RDOT, and Chief Cade, who spent the entire night out last Friday night till 5 in the morning, 1337 Johnson Road. They completed what would normally have taken about a 3 to 4 day project. They completed that project overnight. We had a public safety and public health emergency that was brought to our attention involving some of our local residents, and we were able to mitigate that problem. And hats off to all of our crews who sprung into action, led by the chief. Chief Cade was out there all night long in the cold on Friday night, along with our crews. He made certain that our crews were fed, and they had a variety of that finger-licking chicken from KFC, and that everything was well. And we had a very safe environment without accident or incident. So hats off to each and every one of those directors, all of our crews who were out, and we certainly do appreciate the leadership of Chief Cade for stepping in and making sure that we took care of local residents. I'm going to ask at this moment, Director Dan Morgan, our emergency management director, to come in. Everyone is constantly asking about vaccinations, vaccines, COVID testing. They've been blowing up Commissioner Williams. They've been blowing up Commissioner Washington. We're getting calls constantly all the time. We're waiting on the federal government. Things are not moving. Let me just say this. I want people to hear me say this, Commissioner Washington, Commissioner. We're just as frustrated as many of the folks who can't get onto these sites. It is frustrating. I want people to hear me say, yes, it's frustrating, it's complex, and we're trying to be as patient because we don't have another choice. Director Morgan, give us an update as to where things are now. And I'm sure you have some good news because you've been working on some things over the last couple of days. I think that our citizens, along with the commissioners, would love to hear. Director Morgan.
Thank you, Chairman. And just as an overall, you've seen it on the news, the state of Georgia and here in Rockdale, the case counts daily and the infection rate or the positivity rate are starting to trend down and staying in that trend. We hope this continues. That is the big news for the actual COVID situation. The biggest thing in the COVID situation is the vaccines. We have 2 that are still in the emergency use authorization. There is a 3rd one coming quickly in Johnson & Johnson. But to hear the frustration, you were exactly correct, Chairman. Our main supplier currently is Gwinnett Newton Rockdale Health Department, GNR. They supply vaccinations through a couple of large sites, and just some points on those. The one in Gwinnett opened this past Saturday at the old Sears building at Gwinnett Place Mall. It is a very large site. They are starting out trying to do 1,000 people a day. They will quickly go to 3,000 people a day when we get the vaccine in quantity. Here in Rockdale, we are currently at the RCA Academy. That will end this Friday. We've already worked out the details. GNR will be moving the Rockdale large vaccination site to Springfield Baptist Church. The church has been very gracious. They've opened up a very large section of one of their buildings, have a large parking lot. There again, about 500 to 1,000 people a day when we get the vaccine. I will let you know that like the rest of the country, the rest of the state, and here in Rockdale, the providers that we have are sitting on go. They are prepared to give vaccines to the vast majority of the people. We don't have the vaccines yet. We are waiting on those to arrive. In your vaccine appointments, they are still only available by appointment. You must go to gnrhealth.com. That is gnrhealth.com. And you have to sign up by making an appointment. The appointments are only open when they have vaccine available. They do not have a waiting list. GNR does not use the waiting list method. You can also go to the Department of Health, DHP, for the state of Georgia, and there are direct links to other providers other than health departments, Kroger, Walgreens, CVS, or Ingalls. They're all listed on one page on that site. Again, they all use a sign-up method for appointments, and they only have appointments available when they have vaccines in hand, ready to give them to people. It is still very sporadic. The supply chain is still very slim. And so the appointments right now fill up extremely quickly. And sometimes 1,000 appointments can go in less than an hour. So it is still a frustrating time. Currently, we are in phase 1A+, healthcare providers, nursing home workers, first responders, and those over 65 are still in this first category. We can't get to the second category until we get enough vaccine to take care of the first category. So that is why we are all sitting on go waiting for the vaccines to arrive. But I can tell you the infrastructure is in place. Once we get those, you will see things picking up very, very quickly. I just can't tell you when that's going to be, Chairman, but we're in good shape waiting on vaccine.
Well, thank you, Director Morgan. And I think that this update really lets not only the commissioners, but all of our constituents, the citizens in Rockdale County, know that we are heavily engaged. We are tuned in. We are sitting round the clock, waiting for information coming out of the governor's office, out of the federal government, and you and your team is ready on go working with GNR to make sure that we take care of Rockdale County. Again, it is frustrating. I'm encouraging everyone to please be patient. We are not sleeping on this at all. We want to get past this first phase so we can get into the next phase, but we can't do anything until it all trickles down from the federal government based upon the availability of the vaccine. But we will continue to keep you updated. Director Morgan will only be putting out a swift call when it's absolutely necessary to give you update on things that are critical and urgent. So I encourage all of our folks, if you haven't signed up for Rockdale Emergency Swift, please do that. You can visit our website and it tells you just how to do that. And just stay tuned because we have it all here. I want to shift gears as we...
Chairman, before you shift, could I say something?
Yes, go right ahead.
So I sponsored a town hall last week about the vaccine, and Dr. Arona was there, who's the medical director for GNR. Dan Morgan was there, and Tolbert Morris was there, talking about all different kinds of things, the vaccine, as well as some of these new variants of the virus. But I guess my question to public relations is that town hall available? It was aired on Facebook Live and it was aired through the county website. Is it available to people now that they can get that information?
Commissioner Williams, this is George Diaz with Public Relations, and I want to share with you and the community that absolutely, yes, since immediately after your town hall was complete, it was available on demand for anybody to watch. They can watch it on our YouTube page, they can watch it on our Vimeo page, or they can go back to Facebook and find it also on our video tabs. So immediately after that, it was available for everyone, and we have just also included the link in the chat, the Facebook chat, for folks who want to be able to, again, visit this.
Thank you. I think one thing that's important to know is that you do not have to get your vaccine in Rockdale County. You do need to stay in the state of Georgia, and they're not going to vaccinate people from out of state. But you do not have to stay in Rockdale County. You can go to any county in the state and get your vaccine. However, wherever you get your first vaccine, you need to get your second vaccine. So you just need to be aware of that.
Thank you, Commissioner. And that last piece was very informative because a lot of people were not aware that they can go elsewhere. And the second part of that is that if they get the first shot, they got to go back to that same location to get the second one. So that was very, very helpful. I do want to shift gears just a little bit. Director John Moretto, our Director of Transportation, is having a few technical issues this morning, but that's okay. I've asked Public Relations and Director Diaz to bring on the update as it relates to the Courtesy Parkway project. It is still our hopes and our prayers that the Georgia Department of Transportation will continue to honor this project before they start the construction on Highway 138 here in Rockdale County. I don't know whether it's going to all play out that way or not. For the last 3 years, we've been hosting a transportation summit. We were unable to do that last year due to COVID. We're looking at some creative ways of doing it this year, if not in person, certainly by virtual technology. But Director Diaz, if you would just play that video, I think Director Moretto does a fantastic job giving an update about what's happening with the Courtesy Parkway Bridge here in Rockdale County.
This is the public hearing open house for the Courtesy Parkway non-access bridge project over Interstate 20. It's over here at the Springfield Baptist Church in near Courtesy Parkway. This is a public meeting that we're soliciting comments for the project that we have here. This is a required face-to-face meeting that we had. So what we've done is we've set up 3 tents with some heaters because of the cold temperatures outside, as you can see. But the main point that we're trying to do here is we're trying to answer people's questions, give them a short presentation on the project, how important it is to the county. The Courtesy Parkway is a greenfield, which basically means a new alignment project, which will run from Flat Shoals Road, with a new alignment that goes behind the church here. We'll have a bridge over the Interstate 20, and then it will swing in near Courtesy Ford, and go along this, the Courtesy Parkway, the existing alignment, which then ties in over at Old Covington Highway. Some points to it: we will have a new stop and go signal, which is across from the Mission Ridge HOA. This will be a fully signalized intersection here, which will have pedestrian accommodations, as well as a sidewalk that will tie into the school, the nearby school there as well. On the other end, we will have, will be a stop controlled intersection, a T intersection here with Old Covington Highway. The red dots that you see are displacements. Those are commercial displacements. We will be taking one of the buildings from the Courtesy Ford, as well as a large metal commercial building here. There are no residential displacements of any sort. Also over here at the church here, there's one small building that will be removed as well, which is the youth center. This is the typical roadway section, which includes 2 lanes, 1 in each direction, as well as 5-foot sidewalks on both sides, as well as a center 2-way left turn lane, which is 14 foot. We are actually building a bridge that will allow 4 lanes, that will be expanded once traffic warrants that. Of course, here we have Courtesy Ford. Over right up above there, we have the Kohl's, that large white building we have here. On up here, we have the AMC theaters. If you go further up to the northeast west direction, you have the Walmart. If things go the way that we plan, then we will be beginning to purchase right away later this year, after July of this year. As we move forward, the project, the construction should begin in mid to late 2022. The reason that this is the most important project for Rockdale County is because GDOT has a planned interchange improvement at 138 at Interstate 20. If that project happens before this project, we will have virtual continuous gridlock for the foreseeable future. Once we construct this project, it will alleviate traffic on 138 so that when GDOT does come in with their interchange improvement project on 138, a lot of the traffic that is currently using that and will be using that in the upcoming years will be able to divert over to the Courtesy Parkway non-access bridge.
So I wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to air it. It will be airing constantly on Channel 23. It is also on our county website. This is, as you know, commissioners, a major project that will take more time, but it's underway. This project has had more traction than it has ever had for many, many years. Both of you know that this has been a project that's been talked about for probably 30 years here in Rockdale County, and we're now moving it. I want to say thank you to Director John Moretto and his staff, but also I want to say thank you to our former director, Brian Allen, who is still working as a consultant with one of the agencies who's working along with Georgia Department of Transportation to bring this into fruition. Again, we're somewhat at the mercy of GDOT, because it is our hope that we could get this project well underway before they start the congestion of the construction on Highway 138 at Irish Drive, Salem Road, and Dogwood Drive. As I do believe that's the worst intersection in Rockdale County. We'll see how this turns out. We will continue to keep you posted as we move forward. A little bit more on transportation, going on to another project. Both Commissioner Washington and Commissioner Williams, you have expressed a very high interest in exploring intra-county transit and mobility within the county. We are working on a project here in the office of the chairman with the director Moretto that we are looking to package it up and bring it to you all in the coming weeks, or at least a month or so, to give you an update. But there's some funding that we have discovered that is available for Rockdale County. We are talking to some folks who do this in other counties. The county, as you know, we don't own and operate buses. That's not what we do. But there are folks who are doing this in so many other counties and municipalities. We've been able to sit at the table with them. Just wanted to let you know that conversation has been picked up. And once we get it packaged up, we'll get with Chief Cabe and we'll get that information to you. But that's exciting because there's been a lot of folks, and when you talk about economic development, Commissioner Washington, just thinking about our own residents, folks who are having to walk or catch a ride or whatever the case might be from the north side to the south side of the county or to our central area like Salem Road, Walmart, or here in Old Town. Having our own intra-county transit mobility service is a big plus for economic development, is a big plus for safety, and it adds to the quality of life for our overall community. So we're really excited about that. Again, Director Moretto and our new community relations manager are working together to bring this project to you, and we're going to package it up and give you more. Just want to kind of plant the seed that is coming. It's really exciting because it's really going to add a lot of quality of life to our community. Moving right along as we wrap up, I'm going to go now to Director Sanders, our Director of General Services. She has a couple of updates related to general services, some of the projects that she's working on. Director Sanders.
Good morning.
Morning.
I just wanted to follow up on the vaccine discussion. And one of the things we've talked a lot about the senior services and doing food, but we also are providing other services. One of them is there has been a need expressed that not all seniors can operate the computer or the smartphone to get registered for the vaccines. So we have received approval from the health department to be able to work with senior citizens and pre-register them for the vaccines for those age 65 and older. So we do have 312 people on our list, and we're just waiting for more vaccines to be available. So, and also I will give you the number in case anyone's interested. It's 770-278-7230, and that is for the Senior Service Center. They are also working on distributing PPE for those in need as well. We have done that throughout COVID, and also we still do have our transportation voucher program. Throughout COVID, we've provided 3,600 transportation trips for the seniors in need. So those are some of the services that are available at seniors, not just the food. We are doing other things there, as well as virtual programming. But I did want to mention specifically the vaccine pre-registration.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Director Sanders. And I want to give that number out one more time. I know that public relations will probably put it up on the screen, but the number is 770-278-7230 to Senior Services. Again, that number is 770-278-7230 to Senior Services. Someone's watching the broadcast and writing this down. They can follow up with Senior Services and gain more information. Director Sanders, thank you for this update. That's some critical information that we certainly needed to know. I'm going to go now to Director Sanders. Did you have any additional information coming out of General Services?
I did have one. I wanted to mention some good news this week from Parks and Recreation. Rockdale County was one of 27 projects that was chosen to move forward out of 76 for a Land and Conservation Fund grant through the Department of Natural Resources. And this project will be to develop the DeCastro Trailhead property, which was donated to county in 1996. It will include a public bathrooms, a pavilion, nature center, and bike racks, and it'll also be ADA accessible with a spur from the existing Rockdale River Trail. So we have been chosen to move to the next process of the grant, and really excited about that one. We do have another grant that is in process at Shady Grove that we're already working on. So this will be our second one consecutive through that program. Another that we are working on, we have been working with the ARC over the past few years on funding trails, particularly with our citizen representative, Mike Couchard. He's been really helping us through that. And ARC has added our trail project from the monastery to Johnson Park to the GDOT project list. And we have, so far, what we have received right now is funding of $200,000, and that will be to begin the engineering work on that trail section. So we're really excited about that. It's a need to connect the trail to the Old Town Conyers Trail.
All right, that's really good news. All of that is real good news about what's happening in and around the county. And when you think about our Parks and Rec being selected and chosen out of 76 different organizations throughout the state, that's huge. That's big news. The grant that we received is, I was delighted to open that envelope just the other day, announcing the award of the grant. As you know, this has been a work in progress for quite some time. So hats off to Director Sanders, all of those folks over in General Services and Parks and Recreation for the fine work that they're doing. So thank you so much for that. And I know you will continue to keep us posted as we move forward. All right, so I'm going to Director Diaz from Public Relations. He has a couple of updates, and I think that's going to be closing us out here real soon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Madam Commissioners, or actually I should still say good morning. I apologize. One of the things that I wanted to share, if you'll bear with me, I want to share a screen that should be popping up here momentarily. And this is giving everybody a view of the county website. One of the reasons why I wanted to be able to share this is I know a lot of folks hear about it, but I wanted to ensure that they knew about it. First, this is our county website, rockdalecountyga.gov. Great resource of a bunch of information, but one of the main things that I wanted to share with folks that is if you scroll either right here where it says top stories, or if you scroll down the page and hit top stories, you will be able to find not only the latest information and all the press releases that we send out, but the following day after the BOC meeting, you can go here to read a print version of the Commissioner's Roundup that will give you a highlight of all the items that were talked about and how they affect you. And as you can see, it is very detailed. So we go through every portion of the BOC meeting, and you'll be able here to get a great understanding if you don't have time to watch the whole meeting, or if you wanted to see a particular item, you can go here and read on this, but not just reading. If you'll bear with me, we're going to share our screen one more time. We also have a video, and this video will give you an idea, a quick idea of what you missed last week. Let's watch.
Hi, I'm Satara Koot, and this is your Commissioner's Roundup. Prior to the first virtual Board of Commissioners meeting on January 26th, a virtual zoning public hearing meeting was held to discuss several items from the agenda, including a request to amend the future land use map to redesignate 2021 Old Covington Highway Southeast and Zero Salem Industrial Parkway Southeast from light industrial to high-density residential, a request to amend text definitions, watershed protection district, table of permitted uses, and standards of use and development regarding apiaries and beekeeping, a request to amend text for Watershed Protection District regarding organic farming, which was a measure to make sure the watershed district is protected and certain agriculture is done with conditions, a text amendment regarding reconstruction of detached or attached single-family residential non-conforming uses. This is to change definitions and allow for 60% or more of damaged property to be reconstructed. And the final item heard was an amendment to reschedule Board of Adjustment meetings to not conflict with Planning Commission meetings. After a brief recess, Chairman Nesbitt called the virtual voting session to order. Prior to moving into discussing business, Chairman Nesbitt called for a moment of silence to think of Legislative Director Jennifer Rutledge and her family during her bereavement. At the January 26th meeting, the BOC approved several items for the General Services Department regarding building repairs, approved requisition of water resources of online utility exchange for positive IDs and collections, approved a requisition from the Technology Services Department for procure software for the Stormwater Management Department, approved items for surplus for Superior Court, Talent Management, Rockdale Water Resources, and the Coroner's Office, and approved a volunteer appointment for Keep Conyers Rockdale Beautiful. Towards the end of the meeting, Public Relations shared a presentation of the late Hank Aaron, a Major League Baseball great who recently passed. With this tribute, George Diaz, Director of Public Relations, led into discussion about the upcoming Black History Month Juneteenth program that will be starting in February leading up to June, as well as other upcoming events. On your screen is a list of upcoming public hearings and voting sessions. Again, I'm Satara Koot, and this was your Commissioner's Roundup.
So again, just to reiterate to folks, the purpose of this is we know folks got a lot going on and we want to meet you where you're at. So we don't want you to miss any of the information that is shared in this BOC meetings in case you're not able to attend or view live. But please remember, RockdaleCountyGA.gov. You can go to top stories. You'll see the print version there, or you can follow us on Facebook, on Vimeo, or on YouTube, and you'll be able to view that video there. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Director Diaz. Commissioners, bear with us just a little longer. We're going to Chief Cade, and I believe Chief Cade is going to take us home. Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be very brief. I too want to congratulate my former colleagues in the court system, our new Superior Court Judge, Nancy Bills, and also our new State Court Judge, Clarence Cuthbert Jr. I'd like to point out that if I may have a point of privilege, this will be my first in terms of, or my person that I'd like to present for Black History Month. Judge Cuthbert will be our very first African-American state court judge by this appointment. So I'd like to congratulate him in that regard. And also Judge Bills will be our very first female Superior Court judge in Rockdale County. So I'd like to congratulate them both on their accomplishments. And to also then go into, I'd like to give a little more detail on the LMIG grant that was approved here today by the board. This particular grant, the funding that the board approved to receive in this grant from the state of Georgia, majority of that funding will go to address the Lake Capri Bridge issue and making the modifications to the Lake Capri Bridge that has been so desperately needed for some time. So our Director of Transportation, Director Moretto, will be producing a timeline in the days and weeks to come that will address when that modification and correction will be, or the repairs will be taken care of in the near future. And I'd also like to point out that funding from last year's LMIG grant from 2020 will go to correct the McCart's Landing resurfacing issue. McCart's Landing has needed resurfacing for quite some time. And from what Director Moretto reported to me yesterday, the McCart's Landing changes are slated to potentially begin in June or July of this year. So we're very excited to move along McCart's Landing also as it relates to the resurfacing projects. And there's multiple other projects that our RDOT is working on, but we specifically wanted to highlight those two as it relates to this particular agenda. Next, I'd like to just take a moment, and I know the commissioners have done this many times before, but I really want to thank Springfield Baptist Church for everything that they do for our community. Just since I've been appointed as Chief of Staff, they have helped us on two very major initiatives. First and foremost, the RDOT public hearing that took place just last week. Our RDOT staff did a fantastic job coordinating everything, but I was made aware by our director that Springfield doesn't charge us a penny for doing that public hearing in their parking lot. They provided utility assistance for us. They were very welcoming, very accommodating, and I just can't say enough about what Springfield Baptist Church does for initiatives that ultimately benefit the entire community. So thank you very much to Springfield Baptist, and also for the upcoming assistance that they're willing to provide as it relates to our emergency management agency and the vaccine distribution. Yet again, Springfield has stepped up to the plate and helped us. And I realize that a lot of churches in our community help us, but just since I've been Chief of Staff, Springfield has stepped up at least twice in major areas in the last month. So I just wanted to say thank you from me personally. Next on, and I'll wrap up with this. In the last 6 weeks since I've had the pleasure of working with this board, I've noticed a lot of great work taking place from our county departments. Our stormwater and Rockdale water resources, in reference to the issue that the chairman brought up from Johnson Road, they did all of the work. I was just there making sure that they had what they needed to complete the work. They did a fantastic job. Our public relations department does a fantastic job. If it wasn't for our public relations staff, we wouldn't be able to have this technical this technical capability that we're using right now to bring these Board of Commission meetings to our community. There's a lot of work that goes into planning these virtual meetings, and really kudos goes to that entire staff, from Director Diaz to Sean Kimball to Sakara Coote, and also Janetta Owens. You all do a fantastic job, and we very much appreciate it. Our planning and development, I can't say enough about planning and development. They did an exceptional job on the organic farming ordinance. They did an exceptional job on the apiary ordinance. They did an exceptional job with multiple meetings on the rezoning cases that we had on the agenda for today. I have been in countless meetings with all of them numerous times, and they've done an exceptional job. And the chairman was absolutely correct. It was because of the effective communication with Director Johnson and Deputy Director Jacobs that led that team to such a successful outcome with all of the planning and development items on our agenda today. So I just wanted to say thank you in that regard. Technology services, EMA, fire services. One of the things I like to do at night is monitor the frequencies from our emergency operations center while I'm working on things for the following day. And I can't count the number of calls for service where our fire service goes out. And one of the things mentioned in a call for service is whether or not the person may potentially be infected with COVID. And there's just so many things that go into responding to calls for service, but our fire services does such a phenomenal job responding to those calls, and never any complaints from the fire services. As it relates to general services, as I was listening to Director Sanders give her updates a few moments ago, I just can't count the number of things that Director Sanders oversees, and I don't know how she does it. Parks and Recreation and all of the matters that go along with Parks and Recreation, our maintenance of every single county building, which is enormous, fleet management for every single vehicle that Rockdale County owns, to include the Senior Services Center, which I can't get over that total number of assistance that has been provided to our senior citizens. Director Sanders is the director of all of those components, and I'm just amazed at how much she gets done and how much she's able to produce. So thank you very much to General Services and the professionals that work for General Services. And finally, I just want to wrap up with, it has been an absolute pleasure working for this board so far. This has been a wonderful ride, and there's been a lot of great opportunity, a lot of great departments that have contributed to the work of this department. Rockdale County residents, speaking as a resident, you should all be very proud of your county government. They're all doing a phenomenal job. Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Chief. I'm going to go to public relations. They dug up a couple of dusted videos of my Black History highlight, the MC and the Cape Man, Mr. Danny Ray for James Brown. And then after that, Chief, I'm going to come back to you to just close us on out. Public relations, take it away. Well, there you have it. The Cape Man and the Godfather of Soul, our moment in Black history. Mr. Danny Ray from Augusta, Georgia, the legendary MC and Cape Man for James Brown. Chief Cave, is there any reason for executive session this afternoon?
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for tuning in to another virtual edition of the Rockdale County Board of Commissioners. Today is February the 9th, 2021, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.
Bye, you guys.